Hopefully everyone is there. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. This is Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring coming to you with Two Tutors Talking. And guess what? You just got me again for one moment. So today's topic, we're going to talk a little bit more. I'm kind of like talking to the parents, but I'm also talking to other tutors that are around, talking a little bit about the difference between in person and also online tutoring. I'm starting to see a lot of people putting posts out there. I'm seeing articles, and I love when I see certain things, especially articles when I read that certain items, they're like, oh, you can't do this with online tutoring. And I'm like, I do that every day. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we see, what I don't see, but no matter what's happening, tutoring is definitely going on the rise. I have been tutoring kids crazy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe because everyone took their first exam and all of a sudden they failed it, or a lot of people are struggling and they're just like, I feel like the pace of the classes are speeding up. Guess what? You're correct. Everything is speeding up. The demands that they're asking for our students is definitely enhancing as well. So, if you are a parent and you're just, I'm not familiar with tutoring. Maybe when you were growing up, if you're like my age, tutoring wasn't like the best thing out there. That was something for like most of the people that are ritzy titsy that had the money to do it. But now anybody can get a tutor. It's almost there's so many different ranges, there's so many different culturals that's out there that's helping people. So I'm just going to kind of get down to the nitty of the gritty about what's going on with the difference between in person and also with online tutoring. So as again, like I always do, if you are here with the live, hit hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hit hashtag replay because it helps with the algorithm. So now I know a lot of people will say when it comes to tutoring, what do you prefer? So go ahead and just put in the chat, like, if you're a parent, like, what would you prefer to do tutoring? And you particularly. So based off of what I've seen, this is just my observation. I see that a lot of parents want, especially now that things are opening up, they want everyone to do in person. I don't know what's going on in Florida, but almost every new person I'm getting in Florida, they want in person. And I always say, did you not check the number? I'm 410, nowhere near. Where are you at? So it's almost like, okay, I would love for me to come and chit chat a little bit, but at the same time, I can't do in person unless you're flying me on a private jet. Sure, I'll make the time for you. But a lot of us really do struggle because they want your kid to kind of have a connection with this person. Some people don't know where to get tutoring, so they go to like the big names because usually they're the ones that's publicizing a lot. But then something happens when they go there. They realize that, I'm not going to get the same person each and every time. It's always who's there to fill that slot. And then sometimes a lot of people want to do like small groups or a larger group, but then you lose out on the individual. But for today, let's talk about the common grounds of in person tutoring. So, most of the common grounds when it comes to tutoring in general, you're going to get one to one attention. And I loved how I read this article a couple days ago. And it says that, oh, if you do online tutoring, you won't get one to one attention. I do that every day for at least 6 hours a day, especially this week. For like 6 hours a day. Yeah, I do one to one. And also, you can do like an individual plan. So now I can have kids, they'll come originally for like homework help, or maybe they're getting ready for an assessment. But then all of a sudden they'll say, I just don't understand this part when my teacher was instructing it. Like, and I'll say, all right, well, let's take a look. Or there's times that I will see, well, doing something, let's say linear equations. And when it came to the fraction, all of a sudden you could see their disposition kind of change, like, oh, this is going to be really hard because they see a fraction. And that's not necessarily the case. So it could be a matter of like, okay, well, I might need to go back just for this section. to talk about fractions a little bit, but still continue on with the lesson. So that can happen in person and as well as online. But this is the thing that really tripped me out when they said responding to emotion and body language. They said that in person is the best for that. Say what? I respond as soon as that kid turns that camera on, I can see them. When they get the idea, I can see their eyebrows go up, their eyes get really big, like mine right now. Tone that down. And then you can see them straighten themselves up. And also you can see them leaning in. When my kids lean in, I know I got them. They're understanding. They're really processing it. But when they're leaning back and they're looking slouched, all of a sudden they're not really paying attention. But I can still read those emotions. I can still read that body language being online. So a lot of people think that that only comes in person. Maybe because a lot of the parents are so used to, if in order for me to understand it, I had to have that teacher sitting right next to me and walking me through step by step. And that's the only way I learned how to learn. But you can also learn online step by step with a graphic, as long as I'm not putting a whiteboard behind me and you can't see anything. I could put something on an electronic whiteboard that looks just like your paper, which sometimes it is your paper, or it is a copy, a page in a book. And I can put that on that, transpose it, and you can see it, and we can annotate it. We can write all over it. We can highlight what are some of the things that jumps at us. All those things can happen. So it's very interesting how some people say you can't learn online, but you can. But then there's a few differences. So looking at the differences, how you doing, Smart Start? How's everyone doing? Thanks for coming in, guys. So, hey, Robert. I love this. Hey, Cheryl. And then I think that's probably Sharon. Thanks, guys, for coming in. So it gives me a moment just to breathe because I get so hyped up about this one. Because when you get clients or a potential client and they'll call you and they're like, "Do you do in person?" And you're just like, "No, I basically do online because I'm not in the same state as you. Not mental state, but I'm not in the physical state as you." And they're like, "Oh, my child needs that." And I always ask them why. And when I ask them why, they always like, "Well, they work better when someone's there. They seem less distracted." And I'm like, "Well, where am I going to have the sessions?" "Oh, we can have it at the library." Isn't there distractions at the library? I don't know about you, but I'm constantly seeing little kids running around. Look at this book. I have yet to see a place where it's super quiet and doesn't have that much distraction. There's always going to be some form of distraction. But as comes to me as a tutor or teacher to bring them back into reality. Those are the things that we want to do. So let me take a look at some comments. Okay, everyone's here that's live. This is awesome. So even though we're talking about in person or online, when I do get a client and they're not sure, I usually give them a small sample. Like, let's do for a consultation. Let's do like a small sample. Have your child bring in what they're currently working on, and let's see if they can work. Because majority of the times, it's not the student that's not able to work and do all. It's usually the parent. Because the parents usually like my age or younger, and they're so used to this is how we learn. We're right here. And plus, the pandemic kind of scared them because when the pandemics came around and everything shut down, and then all of a sudden we had online learning, teachers weren't prepared, kids weren't prepared. They were happy because now they're home. Parents saw this as the kids are just being lazy and this and everything's disorganized, and there was no solution in sight. So now when they hear of online learning or online tutoring, they have this fear. And it's an underlining fear that we're going to have to address. So sometimes it's just a matter of them actually getting a sample of what exactly you would teach or what exactly you would tutor in that time frame. It could be a small amount. Could be literally like 15, maybe 20 minutes. Perfectly fine. That 15 and 20 minutes will actually help you to get a client. So why not put it out there? Back to this. I'm going to try to keep this short because I really want people to watch it. Okay. So what the difference is, one of the thing is, as I keep mentioning, is that learning style. If you do have a student that are tactical learners, you can have some printouts, you can have them make things, but a lot of people are not, especially parents are like, look, I'm not going to be paying you. And then on top of it, I have to print stuff out. And that, no, I'm not doing all that. But that's why they want to have that one-to-one in person, because now they can get some of those manipulatives. But here's the funny part. You can still get some of the manipulatives. All they have to do, as I said, print it out, take it one step further, make it into a fun activity, put something together, something that's manageable. So, but I know with their learning styles, again, we're not talking about the learning style of the parent. We're talking about the learning style of the child. Children are very resilient. They will adjust. If they made it past the pandemic and they're still live and kicking, they will definitely be able to do this. Hey, Marquise. They'll definitely be able to do whatever they need to do with the manipulation, with all the tangible things. But don't let that stop you. Sometimes you can just give people suggestions like, all right, I need for you guys to have 5 different Dixie cups and how many different beans. If you tell the parent ahead of time, I need some Dixie cups and beans, and this is going to help your child, majority of them are going to say, all right, thanks. But the main difference here is that convenience and flexibility. This is kind of like a win-win when it comes to the tutor and to the client. So when it comes to like the tutor, I don't have to get in my car and drive all the way to East Jabip in order for me to go see you for maybe in a half an hour or an hour. And then I have to drive back like a maniac because now I got to try to catch my next client. So a lot of people will say, well, they're going to come to my home. I'm going to be truthful. I ain't coming to your house. Like, no, I don't. You probably have a lovely home. Everything is beautiful. That's great, but that's just not me. I don't want to feel like I'm invading someone's space. So when it comes to like the whole convenience, you can set up a date and a time. The child just comes home, sits down, plugs in whatever Zoom or group meetup or group whatever, and they sit and then you have them. For me, I like for my students, if they got a paper or something that they want us to go over, I need for you to take pictures of it, text it to me, and then I transpose that information or that image on my OneNote. And on my OneNote, I just, whatever you see up on the screen is exactly on that paper. So especially for my special ed students, it's so easy to say, okay, I see where you're at. Okay, I see what you did. All right, we're walking you through. All right, then you get to practice. So it's really convenient. And then when we're done, we're done. Mom, you didn't have to drive to a library. You didn't have to like try to go in between practices because a lot of these kids have siblings that are involved in sports, they're involved in drama, they're involved in all these other extracurricular activities. And a parent just can't go to so many places at once. But if they have a laptop or a phone, an iPhone, Android, whatever, you can go anywhere. You have that flexibility. Whereas if you try to go in person to these big corporations, you have to go within their time frame, whatever they have available. And most of those places close or their last appointment is out 7:30. What happens if you have a child that's an athlete? I work a lot with athletes. And if they have a game and their game doesn't end because it went into overtime and it doesn't end until 7:30. Now they're coming home and now they really want to do their homework and they don't know how to do something or oh, I left my notes at home. So now they're stuck. So when you have like a tutor that can help them with that and it's online, it's kind of win-win for me. So that also goes back to the next one, which is availability. Where it could be 24 hours. For me, in the morning, I'm in Cairo, Egypt. I used to be in Nairobi, Kenya. And in the afternoons, I'm all over the US, especially my ones in California. That's at 10 o'clock at night. Ah, but they're doing well. They have somebody that they can get the assistance with. I love it. For me personally, I love being able to 1 minute, 1 hour, I'm in Florida. The next hour, I'm in Massachusetts. The next hour, I'm in Maryland. I might stay in Maryland for a couple hours. And the next hour, I'm in Ohio. And then the next day, I'm in Texas. The next day, I'm in Georgia. The next hour after that, I'm in North Carolina. And then I'm back into Florida again. I get to meet kids all over, and I'm sitting in one spot. You didn't have to drive everywhere. You're getting the assistance that you need. You have someone that's breaking things down. And especially for me, if you have a child that has special needs like ADD, ADHD, that just has a learning disability, I'm able to break things down to them and help them learn and help them adjust and to really see and organize themselves that when we don't meet, they'll be perfectly fine. And that is done virtually. But it also can be done in person. But I don't know, talking about convenience. But here's the kicker. Ready? Cost. Yeah. How much is this going to cost? Because how many people have called you and the very first thing, everybody wants to basically like start comparing prices. I don't want to say comparing prices is bad. Hey, each their own. I just feel like why compare price, an hourly price, whereas comparing a value? Is this person valued by her students, by her clients, by her parents? Is this person being valued? Her and his, excuse me. So when it comes to cost, I'm going to be truthful. There may be some that will be like, okay, I charge $25 and I can meet you at the nearest Panera Bread. And people are perfectly fine with that. Hey, but for me, I pay for gas. I got to pay for the wear and tear of my car, especially this summer. The last 2 summers, which I think I'm just praying that my car kind of holds it together because the last 2 summers has been acting out. Quit it. Okay. I can't handle it. All right. All of a sudden, like, here's $1,000. Does something's with the transmission, something, not just simple oil changes. Every time you start your car up, you're putting some wear and tear on your vehicle. So if you really are desperate and you really want me to be your in-person tutor, it's going to cost you. And it's going to have to be at different crazy times. Are you going to be available for that? Because I currently have kids from 3 o'clock to roughly 9:30. So you really want to meet me somewhere at like 10 o'clock at night so we can do where are we going to meet? The libraries are closed. The big businesses are closed. I don't feel comfortable having anybody at my house. So it's going to cost you. And then all of a sudden, you got to get in your car. Whereas online, you're paying for that person's value. I don't want to say time, that person's value, and be able to get whatever done. Either way, you're going to get results, but why not do something for convenience? And that's going to save you a little bit of time and money. So let me close it off by asking, what's your preference? You're probably like, Audrey, this was all great, but I still want to do in person. All right, great. Or, hey, Audrey, didn't sound too bad about the online. And you're right. I do feel scared because anybody can be anyone online. I'm like, true. But yet you still let your child do a TikTok. Okay. Let's let it make sense. Help me to make it make sense. So, me personally, I would say online is better because you don't have to do any running around. The cost is going to be kept relatively low. You get a tutor from anywhere in this world that has the knowledge that can get you the results. To me, I think it's just a win-win. But go ahead, put in the chat to tell me what you prefer. And also, if you are a tutor and you just need, and especially a math tutor, you just need like a personal home to help you with the whole process of how to be a tutor, you can join my Facebook group. It's called From the Classroom to Online Tutoring. It is a virtual community. I'm almost at 200 people in there. What? What's going on? So I've been doing like a couple of resources, doing some Q&As. I'm actually going to be doing a Q&A this Sunday at 5:30, but it's only for my members. So if you just want to come in, it's a free membership. Okay? Like seriously. You have someone that is tutoring or doing the type of tutoring that you want to do. So why not come in, have your questions answered. We're going to do a couple challenges so I can get you started on your tutoring quest. Because, guys, interims came out or they're coming out this week for us in Maryland. People are looking for tutors. And seriously, they'll always say, I don't know where to find a tutor. So you have to be out there so people know how to find you. So you can get one, the kids that you would love to work with, and two, be able to get your independent and your financial freedom back. I don't know. This is year 4 for me. So it's up to you. The next thing is next week. So if you want to, you can contact me. If you're looking for a secondary tutor, I may be busy, but you never know. I might be able to help you to find a tutor that best suits you. And I've been doing that quite a bit this week because when they say when the cup runneth over, it's time to divvy out. So I would actually sit down and talk with you guys. If you're a parent, talk with you, see how you and your child is. And plus, I have a whole bunch of friends that are tutors, and I can actually push you into their direction. I do not like to pair people up that I'm just like, yeah, this is not going to work. So I want to get to know you so I can figure out who's the right tutor for you, for your right price, for what right value, and all that stuff. So instead of you running around like a crazy person trying to find a tutor, why don't you just reach out to me? You can go to my Solo 2 ACG Math Tutoring. It gives you all information about me, but I'm always here for my other tutors as well. And speaking of other tutors, starting next week, I am actually going to have a guest with Miss Michelle. I am so excited. She's going to talk to us about her tutoring business. She's just starting, but she's starting with a major bang. She's awesome. I have to admit that almost every person that I associate with has been amazing. I'm so blessed. So blessed. But let me check on my comments to make sure everybody's doing all right. Hello, Joanne. All right. So, if anything, any questions, comments, concern, I'm looking for a tutor. Audrey, I need for you to convince me some more about in person versus online. Let me just say, keep it simple. Mostly everything is going to be online. So you might as well do it. Tutoring is going on the rise. Education is staying right where it is. So if you want to know who you can trust, who will be a good person, come on in. Go ahead and just message me. But that will be it for Two Tutors Talking. What? Less than 25 minutes? Oh, that's a new one. So you guys have an amazing day, and I am looking forward to seeing greatness from you and from everyone because this world needs it. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Bye.